Hi, you're about to start Sign Language 101, and I wanted to go over a little bit with you how I grade so that you'll understand the feedback that you receive. There are 4 areas that we grade in when we're looking at signed presentations. The first one is your signs, and those are your words that you would be speaking in an oral language. So when I'm looking at your signs, I'm looking for really good hand shapes and clear movements. If your hand shapes aren't clear and your movements aren't precise, we get the equivalent to someone mumbling or mispronouncing a word. So sometimes I can make out the sign because it's not completely wrong, but I still have to work for it. So one of the things you'll see in your grade and your feedback, I might say signs are clear, easy to read, or hand shapes are weak. Sometimes if there's a bunch of signs that are wrong, I'll actually list the signs that are wrong so you can look them up and look at that. If hand shapes are just weak, it's really hard to on the feedback tell you more precisely than that. They're just weak. If it's a BTE hand shape, it looks like this, not like this. Those precise, strong hand shapes and movements matter a great deal in ASL, so it's really important. So on signs, I'll either tell you specifically look up these signs, they're wrong, or your signs are clear and easy to follow, or your hand shapes are weak and you need to be more precise. The other area that we look at is fluency and your pacing. In spoken languages, we tend to pause at punctuation marks. We tend to pause at periods or commas. And part of that is because we need to take a breath. In sign language, you don't need to breathe. You can just keep moving your hands. And so sometimes students struggle with that. They just sign straight through, never pausing, never hesitating. You need to look at where in what you're saying, where there would be natural pauses, a natural flow of conversation. So it's not just one steady stream. I have trouble in oral languages hearing where one word ends and the other begins. For example, in Spanish, it all sounds like it's just continuing to me. Sign language to the untrained eye also may look like it's one continuous flow of movements, but they are independent movements, and there needs to be some sort of flow to what you're saying, where you might hesitate, where you might pause for clarity or to emphasize something. So make sure that you're pausing at a period or at a comma briefly, and that's just going to be a skill that you're going to learn slowly. So feedback might be that your signing is choppy, or there's hesitations in the wrong places, like in the middle of a sentence where it doesn't belong. You don't want your hesitations to break the flow of comprehension. So I'd be watching for that kind of thing. Choppy movements are just jerky, not fluid. A lot of times a student just doesn't know the vocabulary well enough. They're not prepared well enough with the vocabulary. So there's a lot of hesitations in the fluency while they're thinking about the next sign. So you got to rehearse. You got to practice over and over and over again so that you're ready and you can actually sign fluently. The next area is your face. We do 2 things with our face in ASL. The first is we use grammar markers on our face. So eyebrows will go up on a yes/no question. They'll go down on a WH question. They'll go up on a rhetorical question. The head might lean in. There might be some mouth movements to show that something's really little, where we suck in, or the mouth when we're talking about average things, or the when something's big, or the when it's really big. So for grammar, you're going to be marking what type of grammar you're using. The statement, I have dog, is a question if I raise my eyebrows and say, I have dog, like, do I have one? Versus, I have a dog. The only difference there is what's happening on my face. So grammar markers we're looking for in your signing. If it's a question, we need to see those eyebrows up or down. If it's rhetorical, we need to see the eyebrows up. That's the first thing. If it's a negative, we need to see a negative head shake. The second is probably the most challenging part of ASL, and it's your tone of voice. You have to show expression on your face. You can't be dead from the nose down and just move your eyebrows to indicate question markers. You have to look like you care about what you're talking about. Even if you turned off the volume and muted this video, you'd see me tilt my head, you'd see me purse my lips, you'd see me shrug a shoulder. All of those things are body language and add tone of voice to what you're saying. It's not just monotone. My voice fluctuates. It goes up and down with things I want to say. And we need to see that in your signing, in your face, in your body language. And we only get that through facial expressions. So that's very, very challenging. Um, it's just something you got to work at. That's why you'll often hear me in the video lessons suggest taping your assignment up to a mirror and signing in the mirror so you see what I'm going to see. And when you do that, oftentimes you'll go, oh my gosh, my face is totally dead. Nothing's happening on it. And that's a problem. So in your feedback, I might say some face. Maybe you shook your head during a negative. Maybe you wrinkled your face when you said you didn't like something. Or I'll say, no tone of voice. I got nothing on your face, but maybe the grammar markers. Maybe the grammar markers aren't even there. So you'll always get some sort of feedback about your face. There's some tone of voice. There's some non-manuals, not enough. It either needs to be there, or there's some, or there's none. Those are really the three categories you're going to get there. It's either there and you're using it, and you're building that skill. Might not be perfect, but you're building it. Or there's just a little bit there, or it's just not there at all, and it definitely needs to be added and worked on. Okay. The last area you guys won't deal with really until later in the course, and that's your grammar. The first nine chapters, the first 9 assignments, we've set up the grammar for you. So you're going to see exactly how the language should be structured. And we've provided notes for you in chapter 1, grammar notes for you to study along with the grammar in the book. When you get to lesson 9 or 10, I believe, you actually have to take English sentences and translate them into ASL. And that's when we'll be looking at grammar also. Did you start with the topic of your sentence? Did you get rid of things, prepositions and the English word because through rhetorical questions? Are you labeling your negatives right? Are you labeling your yes/no questions or WH questions correctly? Those are all specific grammar structures in ASL that you have to learn. You're not learning just a visual form of English. Many people think that. I'm just going to take the word and learn a sign for it, be and learn a sign for it, mom and learn a sign for it. No, you're going to learn signs, and then you're going to have to put them in the grammar structure of ASL. It's not, I'm going to the store because I need milk. It's store, go, why, milk, need. And those are the grammar structures of the language that you're going to be learning. So up until about chapter 9, that's not part of your grade because we've done it for you. But you should be taking advantage of the fact that we've done it for you, and you should be looking at it and studying it and saying, I don't understand why they did that one. I'm going to send her an email and ask her a question. Once we get to chapter 9, you get to do it. And that's when it's graded. That's when, if you can't figure out the right order to put things in it, it counts against you. So please be paying attention to the order we have things. Send questions as you go along. As you get into 102, you'll do even more, where you'll have to set the grammar structures up properly. And then in 201 and 202, quite a bit more. So that's really important that you're getting a foundation in the grammar. If you feel like you're looking at something you're supposed to sign and you're thinking, why on earth are the words in that order? You need to send an email and ask if, after reading the chapter and after reading the grammar notes that I've provided for you, you don't understand, you don't get it, you need to send me an email and say, hey, this topic comment stuff, please explain it some more. Or this rhetorical question, please explain it some more. And then I can respond through email and hopefully make it more clear for you. So those are going to be right now up till we get to chapter 9 and 9-10, where you start glossing. I'm going to be grading you on your signs, your fluency, and your face. Those are the 3 core areas that your grade is going to be in. So feedback, you might see something like signs, hand shapes are clear, easy to read, no face used, pacing is choppy. You might see something like that. And that lets you know, oh, my signs, I'm thinking about them too much, so they're not coming off my hands smoothly and evenly, or I'm not pausing in the right places. So that's the type of information you'll get in your feedback. And then if you have questions about that, please let me know. And then, as I said, the grammar will be added to that after your midterm exam, and we move into the second half of the class. Thank you very much. Good luck. I'm looking forward to your videos.